Inside the market, there's a thing called directional correlation. Directional correlation is really important to understand. You can see that I've got Bitcoin's chart right here. What is this blue line? I'll come back to that in a minute, but you can see there's a very tight association or correlation between this blue line and Bitcoin. Let's go back a little bit in time and see if that association is holding up. We can see as Bitcoin came up, this particular crypto or whatever chart it is, it came up. When Bitcoin came down, what did this chart do? This other chart, this other thing, it went down as well. We saw a little bit of a pre-leading, just signifying that Bitcoin was going up because of this chart. Now let's just keep on going through. Yeah, it looks fairly close. It's not 100% spot on, of course. And we wouldn't anticipate that because each chart has its own structure. But as a rule, when Bitcoin is moving, this particular chart is going in the same direction. Sometimes it leads it, sometimes it follows it, but you can see it's roughly and approximately going in the same direction. Now, I'll tell you a secret. What is this blue line? Oh, okay. I'll do the intro and then I'll tell you. Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. My goal is to assist you to become more of a financial and emotional blessing to yourself and those you love. You need to protect yourself from scammers. If anybody reaches out pretending to be me, just go to the About section of the YouTube channel and you can notice I've changed the banners and all of that kind of stuff. Just reach out and directly message me on Twitter. The scammers always have some special offer, but these are the only things that I do and they're right there in front of you. And a message to the scammers, stop taking money from people. They can't afford to lose their money. Karma is real and it's coming for you. Okay, getting back to it. What is this blue line? It's in fact Pepe. Now why on earth am I talking about Pepe? I saw a really interesting quote from Crypto Man Ran, who basically said, Pepe is just doing crazy things. It's just disconnected from reality. Actually, Pepe is just following Bitcoin's price action. Sometimes Pepe overextends, sometimes it underextends, but I could put any crypto here. Why don't I do that? Okay, I've done it. What is this? You got it. It's Ethereum. You can see Ethereum also follows Bitcoin's directional correlation, both over and under extending. I've just popped another one in here. What about this one? What about this white line? How is it going in terms of Bitcoin's directional pull? Sometimes it's in coordination, sometimes it flips the other way, but largely it's following Bitcoin's gravity. What is this one? It's XRP. What about this particular crypto? You can see as Bitcoin is going up, this crypto is also going up. But what about here? As Bitcoin went down, this crypto went down. What did we see here? And what is this crypto? Oh, it's very interesting. Look, it's following Bitcoin's gravity. Surprise, surprise. How could this be? Because it's a rule that we understand and that we know in the crypto market. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. What is this particular crypto? It is ADA. I've replaced ADA with another crypto and just overlaid it. Well, what do we see here? Is it following Bitcoin's gravitational pull? Well, we know as Bitcoin came down, this particular crypto came down, but then we saw a little bit of bullish action. Oh, it went up, but then Bitcoin came down. Oh, it got dragged down. And then Bitcoin came up. Okay. And then Bitcoin was starting to reverse. Look how this one led it. Oh, that's pretty interesting. And what about here? What do we see? A bottoming out action. This is pretty good at determining whether Bitcoin has turning points in it. You can see it's overextending and predetermining the shifts and changes in Bitcoin. What about here? It's a little bit weak. And let's do this. If we actually go in, what is it showing us? It's showing us that this particular crypto doesn't believe this Bitcoin rally is positive, but now it's starting to change its mind. What is this particular crypto? Well, let's go and find out. Oh, it's Doge. Let's put another one on. Oh, okay, this is looking pretty interesting. That certainly is following Bitcoin's gravitational pull. Okay, and as Bitcoin came down, this one certainly came down as well. You can see it's following it to pretty much a ping. Oh, very, very interesting. What is this particular crypto? Oh, what could it be? It is Litecoin. Okay, let's try it with one more. What's this yellow crypto? Well, it's certainly following Bitcoin's gravitational alignment. There's no question about it. As Bitcoin came down, it came down. Sometimes it came up a little bit earlier and just showed strength. Oh, that's very interesting. Showing strength. We've talked about this one before, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's have a look through. And following alignment. Now, what can you conclude from all of this? This is not just some random stuff. We've got a bit of a disparity here, which is quite interesting. You always want to keep your eye when gravitational fields misalign. That could be because of a news event. It could be because of a number of different things. But you can see overall they tend to align very strongly. Please let me know in the comments, which crypto is this yellow line? Inside financial markets, it's really important to make your own rules. I share rules with you as well. Rule 45 is a really important rule. No alt can escape Bitcoin's gravity. I was showing you the application of Rule 45. It is so powerful. You can see I've just zoomed out on that yellow line. Bitcoin is in the background. You can see that that yellow line is really strong. It's been showing a lot of positive power and momentum, but it's coming up to something of a structural resistance level. How can we tell? Because we know that when we mark up a chart with the CTKS method, we analyze all of price history, and that's a very good way to understand where the true ceilings and floors are. There's multiple ceilings and multiple floors. I'll get into that in a minute, but the concept is this yellow line is very powerful. What also happens, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that that directional correlation, that gravity is playing out on this specific one, this other crypto. Now, why are we talking about this? Why aren't we just talking about the other crypto? Why aren't we just looking at the other crypto's chart and making all our conclusions based on that? Because we know from Rule 45, if we do that, we're missing the whole point. When investing or trading, it's very important inside the crypto market to keep your eye first on Bitcoin. Secondly, you need to understand the objective dynamic market structure that sits underneath not only Bitcoin, but what you're actually trading and investing in. And you can use the other alts to give you a bit of a positional guidance on if the thing that you're actually trading and investing in has got momentum, if it can keep things up, because you cross-triangulate back to Bitcoin. Now, what was that yellow line? It was indeed Solana. Solana has been incredibly strong over quite a period of time. It's encountering less and less overhead structural resistance. You can see that that's a different chart pattern than what we see in Binance Coin or even XRP or even Doge. And remember, Doge is not buying the rally in Bitcoin at the current time. That doesn't mean it's a false rally. It just means that you need to look into Doge and make some decisions based on your own analysis of what that could mean. We call this stacking of probabilities. What we've gone through are some very important concepts. You've looked at gravity. Gravity is just the directional overlay of one alt on the other alt. You've looked at relativity, which is the percentage variation between them. You've looked at stacking probabilities, which is using the other charts to confirm or deny a particular price movement in a core chart, which in this case is Bitcoin. And of course, that will flow through to everything. With this kind of knowledge, you can do it yourself. And that's what it's all about. You must be able to control your own trades and investments. Do not ever hand them over to other people. Learning is fine, but don't let other people manage your money. Oh, but Ken, I've seen all these films and the rich people always have advisors. The rich people always do this and that. Oh, it's fantasy. It's a Hollywood myth. One thing to consider as well, there's a very big difference between rich and wealthy. Rich, you can be rich and you can be poor at the same time, especially inside your mental attitude. A lot of people think that if they just have enough money, it will solve all their problems. Well, it does solve a lot of problems, absolutely, but it won't solve all of them, and you'll get different ones in replacement. The moral of the story is, don't wish for an easier life. Wish to be stronger, wish to be more powerful, wish to have greater strength and greater capability. This is what it's all about. The other thing to understand, Bitcoin is not an isolated universe. It's just part of the financial system. For example, the bond market is absolutely huge. It dwarfs the stock market, but the stock market and the bond market move in alignment with each other. Commodities are also a different market, but they also move in alignment with stocks and bonds. And then you've got Forex, which is off doing its own thing, but it's not. It's all interdependent and intercorrelated. About a week ago, I mentioned that the bond market looked like it was capitulating. I believe it's completed that capitulation move. The markets are very up in arms at the moment. They don't know if they're coming or going. It's because things are resetting. These periods when you don't understand what price is doing, there's a reason for things that occur at the moment. For example, with the normalization of yields and the normalization of bond prices, this is very important to the market as a whole. It's placing a little bit of negative price momentum on the major indices because it's shocking the system. And of course, the wars breaking out are not helping anything either. So we're seeing a flight into safety as the war between Hamas and Israel widens. A lot of people are talking about World War III. I find it intriguing. As the price comes down, we're either talking about aliens, war, World War III, or some other diversionary factor. But the key to understand, where are the structural levels inside the major indices? Do we see very risk-on things like junk bonds just collapsing down? No, we're not seeing that. What about the risk-on or risk-off sentiment that is the VIX? We can see the VIX is coming up to a resistance level. Just be aware, structurally, there's a fresh air gap above the current price of the VIX up to around the 22 mark, 23. So we could see the VIX spike up in a capitulation move that could hammer in the bottom of price action on the major indices. But to understand these things, you really need to look through the Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 charts, just like I've shown you with Solana and crypto. When looking at the S&P 500, over 55,800 days worth of analysis through the CTKS method, what we've revealed in the past was a very strong structural level between 4161 and 4192. There's also a very strong structural level between 4088 and 4109. Unfortunately, when you have these fresh air gaps, and thank you for everybody reaching out yesterday and saying it's good to talk about fresh air gaps. Fresh air gaps, there's no resistance in a negative fresh air gap, but when fresh air gaps get filled, they can turn to positive fresh air gaps, and price can come back and either retest or work its way through this structural resistance level. That's a very important understanding. And of course, this is the S&P 500 on a daily basis. If we scoot down to a 15-minute basis, we can see that we drop through this fresh air gap, retested, came about halfway, and collapsed down. Because we know with structure, especially major areas of structure, price is always moving between them. Now, in fact, we have filled this fresh air gap, and for members of the service, I've an updated SPX indicator for you. I've released that already. The concept is that we could very well come back and retest this upward boundary. You can see this is very, very normal price action to do this. The bears will be looking for something else. They'll be looking for price to come down and break this 4088 mark. Just like we looked at Bitcoin with Solana, with ADA, with XRP, with BNB, with Doge, we need to do the same thing inside the stock market. Because we know another thing, Bitcoin cannot escape the stock market's gravity. For example, if I overlay Bitcoin's gravitational price, this is just Bitcoin's price, and I just overlay it on the S&P 500, you can see there's a correlation there. It's not surprising that Bitcoin came down because it had so much upward structural resistance. It just couldn't get through it. But don't forget, there's often a fake out before a breakout. All markets get hit with external events which can cause their charts to go out of phase. But they come back into phase, always. The fact that the S&P 500 is at strong structural support is fantastic, and this structural support just isn't a guess at where structural support is. It's the analysis of over 55,000 days worth of data with the CTKS method. We've covered a lot in this video, but I just really want you to keep aware that when you look at any specific alt, they're all following Bitcoin's gravitational pull. Solana has moved up a little bit inside the ranks of the top 8, so I've just readjusted these top 8 to reflect today's leaders in the crypto market. This is called relativity, or relativity analysis. Because it involves the percentages, you can see one percentage against another percentage. It's used to determine strength or weakness. There's also gravitational analysis, and when we look at Ethereum's, we just call this Bitcoin's fingerprint. So Bitcoin's fingerprint across Ethereum's price action, you can see that they're aligning each other. And even though with BNB, it looks like there's all this variance, in truth there's not. If you just zoomed in here, you would see that they're following in alignment. Okay, so what do we see? There's relativity, there's gravity, there's stacking of probabilities, there's leaders, there's cross dependencies. There's a whole lot of things that you need to be aware of. And this is inside every financial market. It applies to the stock market, it applies to Forex and to commodities, equally as it does to crypto. I hope this video has been educational, and if there are other things you would like me to share knowledge on, please let me know. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.